Well, welcome to 1 Million Cups class. If you guys are here, then you know that you're here to learn about somebody's business and give them some insight. But what do we do this? We do this every week. And while you're here, if you like what you've got, what you see, please spend some time and come find us on Facebook or any of our other social followings. We'd love to have you part of our team every week. We have this one little link that'll take you to all the great things about us. It's this link tree, and that'll be put in the chat. So if you want to follow us each week, this is the easiest way to get all of your 1MC Seattle goodies. So what do we do here at 1MC Seattle? Well, we're about building a community of entrepreneurs that can help each other and be part of this team to build a better business world here in the Seattle area and surrounding areas, of course. We do this by sharing, offering, and asking. Those are the things. And when you do those, you build a community that supports each other. And that's where we want to be. We're different than other groups that do entrepreneurial workshops and such, because we're not about pitching. We're really about getting together, talking things out, creating a community that can help and support each other, all while being radically and intentionally inclusive. This isn't about grabbing money and getting money. This is about learning who you are, what your business is about, and learning from people who tell you that same story about their business. But 1MC happens all over the country, at least 134 communities, there's probably more, with lots of volunteers, lots of attendees at all times. Each week, the 1MC mantra is that we really seek to create a space where there's education, presentations, and connections happening. So that we all learn, we see presentations, and we practice those, and we make connections that will help all of us build a better business for ourselves and the speakers. This is the collective where we would normally meet if it wasn't COVID times. But as you know, when we get back, it's going to hopefully be here, maybe other places, so we can move around the city. The cool thing is that this kind of event has been happening for many years now, and at least 8,000 entrepreneurs have shared their stories at 1MC since its inception. I think this is probably closer to probably 9,000 now. We wouldn't be able to do this if we weren't getting some support from some community sponsors. So we got the McLaughlin Method, a small studio, and Human Up. All of them help us by sponsoring a small aspect of the things that we do as organizers to make this happen on a weekly basis. Our team here is all community volunteers. So none of us are getting paid. We would love to have more people join in. And we've got 6 fantastic people right now, and we are looking for more because we all get to do a little bit to help make this run on a weekly basis, and we learn a little bit as we go along. So if you would like to be a part of this team, just let us know. What's going to happen today is we're going to have a speaker, Shaily, and she's going to talk about her company in about 6-7 minutes. And then afterwards, we're going to have a 20-minute Q&A. After that, we'll do a little connection via some breakout rooms till about anywhere from about 10:15 to 10:25. And then we have to shut things off, sadly, because our team has to get off the Zoom call and have a meeting. So that's when things are going to kind of end. But you have the free pass to get off the meetings whenever you like, and leave what's best for your schedule. So as you're listening today, so that you can give the best feedback and bring the best of you to our speaker, I want you to listen with energy, focus, and limit your distractions. Think about what's standing out. What do you want to know more about? What do you have in terms of expertise that you can share with them? And when you bring things up, we don't want to be concrete. We want to be giving options. And the best way to give options is to, instead of saying you should do something, start with what if, what about, to add to what they've got going on, the speaker. So if you could do that, that creates a much better atmosphere, and you'll be able to raise your hand in the reactions tab when we get to that Q&A section, and we'll talk more about that later. That being said, I'd like to hand over the stage to Shaily from your social media Sherpa. I'll stop my share, and Shaily, take it away.
Wait a second. There we go. Hi, everybody. Thanks so much for having me here. I am Shaily Hakimian from Your Social Media Sherpa, where I help businesses get clarity and accountability doing their own marketing. So if anybody recognizes this logo, shout it out, because this is one from a blast from the past. If you recognize it, I would love to hear if you know it. This is the old MySpace logo, and MySpace is sort of how I got to where I am today. So when I was a kid, this is me in high school, by the way, I was bullied, I was teased, I had a disability. People really didn't think much of me. It was really hard to navigate socially. And the one place where I found a way to make friends was through meeting nerds like me in a MySpace forum for fans of the shows Big Brother and Survivor. Do we have anybody in here that watches those shows? Maybe. Oh, okay. I got a little bit here. Leif, thank you. I love those shows, and I found people like me who like those shows too. And I ended up managing an online community for people who are just like me. I was a community builder at like 14, which was so crazy. And that's where I learned how to make friends. It's where I met people that were like me online. It's where I made connections and built relationships. So what I did is I took everything I learned from MySpace and my subsequent teaching degree from Indiana University, my social media skills, and I combined them to a service that I have today. And I take the same skills that this loser kid in middle school didn't know how to make friends, and teaching business owners how to continue to grow their relationships using the tools of the web. So it came out of a personal need for myself and manifested into something I can help businesses with. So to give you a little bit of backstory of this whole business, a lot of business owners depend on a strong reputation and referral network for their business. But the reality is they know that they need to stay top of mind with the people they serve, but they are probably neglecting that. They aren't actually giving them the information they want to really stay top of mind. So when the next client comes around, they can say, oh yes, you should call so-and-so. So, and on top of that, they are the accountants, they are the service providers, they are the sales, they are the marketing. And then they're hearing, oh, you should do social media. It's super overwhelming. So when it comes to social media, they already know they need to be invested in this stuff. They need to do it, but their efforts really feel fruitless. It's a lot of wasted energy without a clear direction. So as their Sherpa, I take what already works in their business and I help maximize it to help find their low-hanging fruit. So a lot of people I work with, they have this secret ingredient to success on social media. They just don't know it yet. I say that they're influencers without actually knowing that they're influencers. You just can't see how big of a network they have. So for example, one of my clients, and if you want to see some of my kind of industries I work with here, these are all the industries I've worked with. One of them is an Indian matchmaker, and she is a super great connector. She had a website. She's getting referrals all the time. And she had this capture form on her website that got people to sign up if they were interested in learning more about her business. And she got like 300 emails in there. And these are people who are like very warm to her business, yet she never sent out a single email to these people who are likely to become her customers. So I shook her up and I was like, stop being distracted by like trying to attempt Snapchat. Like, let's get you sending emails out. And she's been sending more and more emails out that educate her network on what she solves for them. And I asked her recently, I was like, Rada, what is the result of us working together? And she says, Shaily, I'm having such better conversations with the people I want to work with because they can now see their problems shown in her content and they can relate to it. So that is the kind of work I do. And I hear the same kind of result from many of my clients. And that's the magic of it. I say that it's kind of like this. Imagine if every question you ever got on a sales call was already answered for you before the lead got on the phone. This is what I do. I guide them to show up consistently at scale, reminding their network of their expertise. I make them super clear on what they communicate online so that the people that matter most to their business can remember them and keep sending them more good people. The reality is people are going to Google you. Are you showing up online as the expert your best clients see you as? So with that, there's a little bit of a process I take people through. I start with a video review where I I hate to say stalk, but I kind of stalk you on the internet. I look you up and I see what works about your content. And you literally see my first impression on every social media account you knew you had or didn't even know you had, including your website and beyond. And it's also like a training as well on how you should think about your marketing. Then we learn together. So I teach you some skills, whether it's how to do Instagram hashtags to let's make sure you're sharing the right information on your LinkedIn profile. And lastly, it's accountability and ongoing support. So this is number 3. This is the big thing. This is working together over the course of 3 months to make sure that you have all these pieces in place. And usually within 3 months, I say usually within 100 days, your systems are going to be in place so that they can actually get you in front of the people that you already know matter. This is a little bit about my marketing. LinkedIn is my jam. I put out tips on a regular basis there. People seem to love it. And then the other thing I want to share, I would not be your Sherpa if I didn't share 3 tips with you today to keep you going. The first one is gratitude. I feel the gratitude in this group. You all help each other and support each other, and that's amazing. And that same energy can apply to your social media. So for example, let's say you posted something on social media, you had a couple people engage with it. Maybe one of them is a key contact you haven't seen in a while. What I do is I tell my clients, go in and send them a thank you message. Tell them, hey, thanks so much for checking out my post. It does 2 things. And like I said, I'm a teacher. We learned something called positive reinforcement. When you tell somebody you liked a behavior, they then want to impress you by doing the behavior again. So then those people will now constantly and more consistently like your content because they know you care. And the second thing is if they ever had a question for you about marketing or whatever your service is, they can now talk to you and ask those questions without any pressure. It's brilliant. The second one is Twitter. Twitter, some of you are probably like, do I need Twitter? I'm like, yeah, maybe. Twitter is like interesting for one of the key reasons is because you can get a hold of like anybody in any company significantly easier than any other platform. So that's what I say, use Twitter as all that kind of good stuff. And the last tip here with the last 30 seconds is tip number 3 is about LinkedIn. People look you up before a meeting, especially if you're in the business to business space. That is your like free interview. That is your free, like, here's what I do. It makes it very clear what you're up to without having to waste that valuable phone time talking to them. So what I do on my website is I offer all of my favorite LinkedIn profiles to you so that you can download them and get some impressions on what you can improve. With that, I thank you, 1MC Seattle, for having me, and I'm excited to hear your thoughts and questions. Yay. Oh, and this is me. Let me give you this is how you can contact me.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Shaily.
You're welcome.
Everyone, hands up. Let's give it to her. So
oh, cool.
That was there we go. Everyone's hands up. Boop, boop, boop. There she is. So we will post this, of course, in the chat. We will post this in the chat. So everyone should keep this handy. And
yes. I'll stop sharing here.
If you have a question, please raise your hand. I see we've already got a few.
Yeah, and I'll take them in the chat too, wherever is comfortable.
Super awesome. Yeah, so if we get any in the chat, then Kareem will let us know, and we'll go from there. According to my list, Jolene had her hand first.
Yeah, hi, Jolene.
Hi, thank you. This was a great presentation. I felt like it was very concise. The story flowed. Loved it, loved it, loved it. My question for you is, what do you think is the lowest hanging fruit that most people aren't picking? Like, what is the thing that you're like, guys, like, if you just did this, like.
Oof. So this is a great question. And it's tricky because it depends on like everyone's individual business. Like I just talked to like a guy who's like a special kind of like holistic trainer, and he has everybody over text message. I had another guy in mortgage that said the same thing. For some people, they do have everyone's email because that's how they serve their clients, but they don't actually send them anything. I would say email marketing is probably one of the most undervalued items, because if you're like, I have a cousin that has like 200,000 followers on TikTok, and like if the algorithm changes on him, there's a chance those people will never see him again. But if you capture their email, you own that. And if you own that somewhere in an Excel spreadsheet or something, that's yours forever. I mean, they can change their email, but that's very consistent and it's reliable. So that's one huge one that people don't utilize. Now, is that a whole battle that everyone can take on? No, but people all have their resources. Like for me, I have a bunch of people that I've personally connected with on LinkedIn. So when they see me, I'm not a stranger. And so that for me is my golden nugget, right? So it depends on where you are. Is that something that you're curious about for yourself or for people you work with?
Oh, I finally have the email funnel in place, and it's been amazing this year.
Yay!
So yeah, so okay.
So you know, it's a big thing.
Well, no. I have an email list. I'm not emailing yet, but I have an email list.
That's huge. I always tell people, if you can hoard that, when you do decide to do it, you're ready to go. Cause I didn't even start sending emails out for a while, but I had a list like coming together. So you are amazing. Keep up the good. I love that.
Our next contestant is Jessica Vetz.
All right. So the question I would always get when I was consulting with small businesses, what about your fees? How can I afford you? I'm a small business. I can't afford anything. So what do you charge?
So I don't usually talk about pricing on here, but one of the things I do offer is hacks for under $100. So they're like pre-recorded videos that solve a specific thing for you. So a lot of my small businesses, they don't actually know what to put out. So one of my hacks is like answer these 10 questions and you're going to have like content to like feed you for like a year, if not more. If you can answer these 10 questions, you're going to get some really good, where is, I just want to share my, screen with you here. Where did it go? I just want to here we go. So here's what it looks like. It's like you have these you have like this top 10 questions that you need to answer. That'll give people clarity on how to match their content to their referral network, how to do hashtags, how to write LinkedIn content. That's a big one, like what you should actually be putting out. And then some other ones, if you have Facebook events, how to make them more worth your while. So these are really low, easy ways for people to work with me. And then I do video reviews. And that's a really great place to start. And look, I don't think a lot of these businesses can afford to like neglect their referral network. They're probably missing where their money is. And they already know that if they stayed top of mind, it would be more helpful to them. This is also another blog that I've been telling a lot of people about that explains the different options people have when they're choosing marketing support. So I put like a little bit of a range for what a social media consultant can go for. So like anywhere from like 150 to like 500 an hour, if not more. Usually it's a package. So it's not like I'm going to work with you for an hour. It's like by the end of this experience, you will have clarity on your systems and you will have put everything in place that you didn't even know you needed. That I'm holding their hand for 3 full months to make sure that they are okay. And so this is good if you actually are not sure where you need to spend your efforts. But some people know how to do their marketing. So they have specific tasks and you can get an admin to do it. Or you can get like somebody who is like a freelancer to do it. So that does that give you perspective on like why they can't afford to not do something like this?
Yeah, that's totally good. It just, I didn't
Please.
necessarily want you to go through your fees. It was more your, how do you address that when people ask you? So that was perfect.
That's good. Yeah. And that's one way I do it. It's like, if somebody can't afford it and I'm not the person for them, it's like, it's okay. Like there's other options. You can go to my hacks. You can go to my YouTube. I have tons of free videos there. I can't help everybody, but if you're somebody who's ready for this, they see it and they're like, yep, I need it. Let's go. Which is nice.
Number one thing in marketing, I can't help everyone. And if you can't say that for your business, then you're not doing it right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So true.
Yeah,
So true.
It's funny. I told people no, I'm like, they're like, oh, can I just get you for an hour? And I'm like, an hour is going to be great. You're going to get some insights, but like, it's not going to solve your problem. And I don't want to sell somebody on something that isn't going to actually get them to where they want to go. But that's a whole other, I know Eric and I were talking, that's a whole other question that I've been navigating is like just on the sales call to make sure that I'm guiding them to where they need to go. And not missing out on some opportunities there. So that's a question that has been on my brain. How did I phrase it? Yeah, I get a lot of people signing up for calls. They're excited to work with me, but I don't always close. How do I improve connecting my offer to the challenges clearly and concisely? But the people who do want me, they're like, yes, let's go. So it's great. Like my content works, which is, I'm good at marketing. So it's like, no surprise.
There you go. Our next contestant is Stephanie.
There you go. Wonderful presentation.
Thank
I'm in
you.
your space, so
Yay.
I get it. I stopped social media because that was a space that was very difficult to work with customers. So I have kind of a twofold question. One,
Ooh,
the one is space to change, as you sure know, as a paid to play model. Many platforms are adapting where Facebook, now LinkedIn is now being owned by Microsoft, is now becoming more of a paid strategy, as well as with Google search and PPC and content marketing in general.
Yeah.
So you have a combination of 2 types of clients. I noticed from your list, you have clients who tend to be, lack of a better word, more extroverted industries, more who are engaging, who understand that you have to get people's names and emails and phone numbers to interact with them. You already have someone who already understands that.
Yes.
My question is, how do you have your conversation for those who are a lot of customers I work with in search, who are more introverted in categories where social media is a combination of, I'm not sure if we should invest this because we don't have a consumer model. We might be a manufacturer. We might be a B2B. We might be having more difficulty getting to certain customers. So from your model, is it something where when you take on that client, are you a consultant? Do you do content marketing in general? What's sort of your way of going about that and discussing things with those clients? Because I know that some people already kind of know the game, and then some people have no idea that say, well, what is your cost per click? What's your cost per lead? How much is this going to cost? What's the return on investment? And as a manufacturer, a larger company, those numbers are much more valuable than, oh, I saw engagements. Because I hear a very common thing is a lot of people say, well, you have so much impressions, engagements. And my customers or manufacturers like, well, I don't care about impressions or engagements. How much did that lead cost me? Can I get more? So two-parter, long question.
Okay, I think I wrote down some of the parts here. So I want to make sure I address what you've shared. So from what I'm hearing, it's like, what do you do? So, okay, we're going to just name this, right? Social media isn't the answer for everybody. And I don't tell every single client that they need to do a specific kind of social media. That is not my game. You can get plenty of Instagram coaches and YouTube coaches. I'm like, great, you go call them if you want to figure out how that all goes. My thing is not dependent on random magical unicorns that an ad maybe got them to click. It's dependent on who they already know are their ideal customers. A lot of times most of their customers come from referrals, or at least the people that I serve, they get them from referrals. And usually they have some social media person that isn't empowered to go do what actually needs to be done. So in that situation, like the content that they create, it's about getting that information out of their brain in a way that these people can see. So if it's like a old school manufacturing company, like, are the people that are buying getting this information from them, and in what medium? It might not be social media, but it's really more about getting that information out of the leadership's head and into whatever marketing channel they have. So it might be like I have a lady who's got she's been paying for SEO for years, but her email marketing didn't exist. And people were like literally falling off of her website that could have been warmed up. And so in that situation, like, yeah, she's got the SEO on track, but she's missing out on the value of her SEO. So it's like, I want to make sure I answer this, but that's a piece of the puzzle, right? It's that there are people that are already coming in. It's how you speak to them and where you speak to them. And a situation, you might have a lead and you're able to send them a document that has all these answers that they didn't anticipate. It makes it significantly easier. One client I had, he has like a pasta company. And when I started talking to him and I gave him a video review, his content was like, here's a cute picture of pasta. And I'm like, nobody gives a shiz. Now his stuff is like, here's a situation I had with one of my manufacturing clients. And this is what happened. He has a lot of people on LinkedIn, and it illuminated them what the experience is like to work with this company. And that's really the magic. So that's what it is. It's getting the information out of their heads. And then through those other channels, they now have content galore. But I find that there's not that bridge between the business leader and the marketer. And that's where I come in. I'm like the facilitator between the two. And I don't do the content myself, but I help them understand how to use their own resources in the process. Did I cover a lot of aspects of that question? Because I really like where you're going with this.
Yes. And I think you said something very interesting, which is something from also being in the marketing space is always a concern, is that there is someone already in place, meaning someone's already doing it. Whereas a lot of time with small business, they've done nothing. They've had Facebook and LinkedIn sitting there for 2 years. The last post was of Happy 4th of July from 2019. Like that was the last thing. Right. And that's what usually you work with. And so it sounds like you go through and you sort of facilitate the communication between the leadership as well as someone who's already employed. So it gives me an idea in that question of what your demographic of client looks like. Yeah. And I'm curious that, and I'm impressed by your model. I'm going to end my question here so Leif can ask his question, but for having a diversity of your pricing materials is good, because you might have someone says, well, that sounds great, but I haven't touched it in 2 years. Again, just like was Jessica's comment, is there a way that I'm a small business, I don't have all this money, I don't have already employed someone who already is doing something with an audience, we've already had minimal engagement, but not a lot of engagement, somewhere we can actually grow. So it sounds like you have a number of different areas, which is good.
Yes. And again, too, I'm going to say this. It's not like, I think a lot of marketers are like, oh, we're going to get you new people out of the sky. But like, that's a really hard thing to do. And there's great marketers who can start that process. But if the leader doesn't know their people, then it's not going to help the marketer actually execute. So I always rely on the network they've already built, because that is a guarantee. That is, if you've got those people, they know and love you, that's a guarantee. And I don't think you can do that any other way. And if you trust your network, then you can get more out of them. So I appreciate that. That's a great question. Thank you for your kind words. Leif, what are some... Oh yeah, go for it.
I like that. If you trust your network, I think that's a really good thing to do. So that's awesome. Thanks. And yes, Leif, you are up, sir.
Me, wonderful. Hi.
Hey, good to see you again.
Shaily. That was a nice presentation. I liked. Personally, I love the fast talking. So I'm like right there. I'm like, go for it. So. But I know that doesn't work for everybody. I'm just like, I know.
I'm a kid of immigrants. And so I'm like, how can I talk this fast? And my parents are immigrants and they appreciate slow talking. I'm like, but I know this is me. So I appreciate
Well, I
you
like it
sharing
because I'm just like, okay, I'm following, I'm ready, I'm here, I'm ready. Where's the party? I've got
Let's
drinks.
go.
I'm like, we're going. Okay. So
Yeah.
a couple things that stood out to me was I really like the idea of the video stocking review.
Yes.
It just came across me. It's like, oh, I would have appreciated that if I was going down this road doing that journey. I would have loved to see that, to see like, oh, well, this company, she cares and is like going into it and is like really jumping into it deep. And that would kind of come across me very well. I'm sure it comes across really well. And it seems like everything you're doing makes total sense and is awesome and very cool. My question is,
Thank you.
moving forward, like what is your biggest challenge you see for your company? I understand that you're just a sole prop, like it's just you doing all the work.
I have
right?
freelancers. I've got interns.
Okay.
I've had copywriters doing things with
Are
me,
they
but it's
employees or
mostly
just, like,
me. No, it's
Yeah.
mostly me. It's contractors.
Oh, contractors. Okay. Yeah. So
Yeah.
that was my question is, I also have a similar situation myself. I am almost all myself with a few contractors here and there and wondering about scale. Like, you could be really good helping a few people and maybe that is the end goal. Is that what it is for you? Or do you have some other growth idea? And what does that future potential look like for you?
It's a great question. There's a consulting group that I really like, and I want to work with them one day. I don't think they're like, you're not ready for us yet. I'm like, one day, but they help you kind of scale. So it doesn't all depend on me, the Sherpa. So that's something that I've considered is like, what does it look like to have other people implementing some of this stuff? But also too, like in a personal goal, like I do like the idea of down the line being a more personal brand. I have a big speech in the fall where I might reveal some like more personal secrets about myself. And that's something that's really interesting. So like that is kind of one of my bigger routes, but I'm actually in a moment right now where I'm trying to figure out how I want to prioritize things. Like, do I have a Sherpa Instagram or do I have just me? Because I really want to build this around me. So those are the kind of questions that come up, though they're all in place if I decide to choose one route or another. So that's one of the things. The other challenges is like, I have tons of demand. It's these like sales process I take people through. I sometimes wonder if I'm not always connecting the dots from their challenge to like this video review, because I know this is what's going to help a lot of these people. So that's something that's really interesting of like, I don't want to write proposals, but I also know that like, if I don't customize things, I might be missing out on some opportunities, but I'm also like, I don't want to be I could help consult like some 200 consultants on how to get more clients on LinkedIn through one of my clients. And I'm like, do I want to be like one of those kick butt consultants that's like putting out these big proposals? Like, is that my battle? So like, these are the questions I ask myself, and it's tricky, but I want to make sure that when I am on the phone with people that I can guide them to where they need to go. That is where I am a little bit nervous, but I do close. It's just not always as much as I would think would happen with the amount of excitement people have when they do talk to me. So it's tricky. So
yeah, I get you. So for now, it sounds like you're fine with where you are and you don't mind being this more one person band.
Yeah, I pay the bills. And I'm living my life and I'm doing the things that I like.
And that's kind of, that was what it was like. Maybe that is the optimal part of that graph, is like being the one rock star for a handful of people. And maybe growth beyond that is more stress and work and challenge that it's actually worth. That's what I wanted through my head a lot. So that's why I wanted to hear your take on that.
Yeah, it's my question too. And it's a really tricky one. I'm working with a consultant that's helping me get some clarity on this. And I'm so excited. I've been waiting to meet with her again tomorrow. So I'm hoping she can help me kind of filter down what I want and make sure that that's going into my business efforts. Honestly, like I have a whole CRM full of people that I should be following up with right now. And I'm just nauseated by the fact of doing it. And so I have a VA right now. Oh, I have a virtual assistant. And I'm like, okay, well, how can I leverage that to like not have to do this ever again? And maybe I should. So instead of neglecting it. So we'll see. Yeah, I see.
Your own medicine.
Sounds to me like a Jerry Maguire situation.
Yeah.
Jerry Maguire. Do you guys know that movie?
I'm just gonna watch it again soon because you were talking about it.
Okay. But so Jerry Maguire it's all about the big corporate agency or a one guy doing a job with one or two other people. So, and it's, where do you go? It's a great question, Leif. And I think it's really cool that, if you want to stay in your lane for a while, you do, but you've got to think about that end. So great question. Hey, Lisa, you have a question. Bring it on.
Unmuted. Thank you. I'm new to the community. This is really fun.
Oh, cool.
I loved your presentation, and your name got me, like your social media Sherpa. That's just so cool. And
Thank you.
I just launched 2 new businesses, and I'm all about doing everything myself, and lots of social media and email marketing and everything. Yes, it's overwhelming. And so I love what you're doing. I have a couple questions.
Please.
I was curious about your name. Like, the hashtag is not at your social media Sherpa. Like, I was writing down at HIKIMIA, and like making sure I got it right. And it was like, I was just curious, like, do you use at social media Sherpa would be, short and sweet. And
I have at your SM Sherpa on, like, I've tried to get it on a bunch of the platforms, ready to go if I decide to use them.
oh, you've gotten that. Okay. But yeah,
Yes,
I think that
yeah.
would be cool.
I'm this pretty much everywhere else though.
Okay, got it. And I have a question about email marketing.
Yeah.
I have like just under 2,000 emails. And
Amazing.
but I don't send it out often enough. I
Ooh.
fear for, when I get too many emails, I just get aggravated and then I opt out. So I was meeting with someone yesterday and they said you should send a newsletter once a week. And I just was like, ugh,
nauseating.
Like, oh my God. But I get it, I got it. People are going to opt out, and that's okay. That.
Can I talk you? Yeah. Can I talk you through something?
Yeah.
Okay. Here's one thing. I got this from my friend, Jonathan Pritchard. He's like, Shaily, if I sent you $100 every time I emailed you, would you open it? Would we have some head nods here? Right. Would we open it? Right. So he said, if the thing is so valuable that people want to open it, then they don't care how many you send. They're going to want to keep saying it. Right. And the other thing, like I had one, I was doing a workshop on Monday. And this lady was like, oh yeah, I send a quarterly newsletter out, and it's like a very not lengthy one with curated articles. And I see a lot of people doing that. Like, here's an article. It doesn't really tell you anything about your business. And I'm like, okay, so like, what if your favorite TV show was like, oh, we're going to release an episode every 3 months or every 4 months or whatever. Like you have nothing to look forward to. Right. So it's like, they're not going to like be excited. Like, oh, so-and-so sent an email. It might literally get buried in their email. They'll never see it. So it's the one I heard from an email marketer. She was like, if you can, like, at minimum every other week, you can get away with it, because then they kind of expect it. So for me, my emails are every other Friday. That's that like LinkedIn profiles thing you get on these really nice, very easy social media tips. And it's literally one solid piece of information that my leads need to know. That's a helpful educational tip. I don't know. Are your like, that's how I keep it easy. It's literally like a one chunk of call to actions at the bottom, one nugget of insight, and that's it. So people know it's like, I can read her emails quickly. I don't know, what are you sending now? Is it lengthy and exhausting for you to put together, or is it something simple?
It's relatively simple.
Oh, good.
Yeah. Yeah, but I would like, if I'm going to do it once a week, I'd like to contract it out.
There you go. Then that's not a bad thing. Yeah. There are freelancers who can do it, and you can get a good freelancer for $20, $30, $40 an hour, and you can get it all done, and it's not your problem anymore.
Exactly.
So that's what I always tell people with emails. If it's good, they're going to want to keep opening it.
Last thing is, I know you didn't mean to show the pricing. The question turned out to be different, but
it's all good. That blog is very helpful for folks.
I liked seeing the pricing. I think it's cool that you had I don't quite understand LinkedIn, what I should be doing with my business on LinkedIn. And and so I think it's neat that you have packages specifically for, like, if you want LinkedIn help.
Yeah.
If you want Twitter help or whatever. I think that's cool.
Yes, absolutely. So yeah, there's different things. Those are like some really great offerings. People can buy them immediately and get some really good insights they never had before.
That's great.
And it's also a great way for people to get to know me before they purchase something else. So,
thank you.
Yeah.
Hey, Shaily, now are those things, those are not in interactions to do one-on-one personally. Those are with some content that you've created, so they can do it at their own pace as well, right?
Yeah, it's a full video where you can watch it and then get some insights as you go, and you can watch as many times as you want. You can even download it. And then sometimes I usually check in with people, like, how did the video go, to see how it went. So that's been fun. So I'm not,
that goes right to your point of being in contact with these people.
Yeah.
Right?
It's everything in my world is, I learned this from like the first ever social media account I manage. It's all about that like personal relationship. If someone knows you care about them as a follower, they're way more likely to engage with you on the account. I always tell this story. Like, I had 2 clients start out with me last year. One didn't listen to my advice and one did. And they started brand new Facebook pages. I said, don't just invite people willy-nilly, personally send them an invite to say, hey, would you help and join my page? They are not only signing up for their email, they now know that you, as a person that they have a relationship with, care about their participation. One account, the one I told them to do this, was getting like, I don't know, dozens of likes on every single post. They only had like 60 followers, but a good percentage of those 60 followers were very into what they were putting out, because they were putting out consistently and in a way that was relevant. And that's a big part of everything that we already know works in our business and our careers and beyond.
Yeah. Awesome. That is dead on.
Yeah.
Well, folks, we are at a perfect time. We need to ask a very simple question for our friend. And she's kind of already, I think, alluded to what that is. And I'm going to share my screen real quick. And that question is,
oh, I have a question. Yes.
What can the 1 Million Cups community do for you, Shaily?
Eric, you and Leif and everybody here has been so beyond helpful with all the calls and the prep for this. I've learned a ton. Can I screen share something here? Let's see.
Yes, I can stop my share.
Here we go. So this is a little slide with some of the things that would be helpful to me. LinkedIn is one of my areas of specialty. And I just met another student last night at a law school who's like, oh, you teach LinkedIn and networking? Like, we're dying for people to show us how to do that stuff for our careers. So I do LinkedIn workshops for college students, high school students. I'm really looking into the sorority market as well. I just got hired to do one for women trying to get into the security field. So that was really fun. So introductions to sororities or university institutions that bring speakers on would be absolutely huge. Other people who could benefit from this are companies that have a lot of other companies underneath them who want someone to help guide this big batch of companies on how to do their own marketing. I would love to do that. I do that with one of my clients now. It is a blast. Any insight on how to make my sales process stronger, especially on the phone calls, to bridge the moment where they're like, I absolutely need you, to here's my offer, making sure that they match. That is a current this week problem that I'm trying to navigate. Any tips on how I do and anything on this presentation, always very helpful. If you have a local chamber that needs a speaker, that's something that I love doing as well. So that's a little taste about what would be helpful to me, but introductions for speaking engagements would be a huge honor. So thank you so much.
Great. I'm going to grab back the screen if I could.
Yeah.
Thank you. And now that we've found out what we can do for Shaily, I'm sorry, why did I say that wrong?
It's all good.
Yes. What we'd like to know is what you can do for this community, all of you out there. If you know somebody or if you yourself want to apply to present, it doesn't mean that we're going to make you get up there and present right away. What we're really saying is, if you're thinking about it, let's start the process. Let's talk. It may be 3 months out that you get to where you want to finally present, but we would love for you to talk to us about the new product, the new idea. Just be someone who's wanting to try something new and you're willing to ask for some help and you want to learn by doing. Those are great tips, and we are here to support you on that journey. And you may never present, but going through this will be very helpful. We would love to help you out.
Do it.
All right. So, and remember, if you want to get involved, we need some help. We'd love to have more people on our team. And what we kind of look at it is we can improve little TD business skills by volunteering. So we have a safe space to practice those skills, which aren't going to be too crazy on our own long-term business thing. So we don't want to impact our business, but we can learn those skills that will impact our business. And once again, don't forget, you can find us at Linktree/1MC Seattle, and that'll give you a lot of information about what we're doing weekly and one link to take you. It's like the One Ring, only better. It's a link tree. That being said, I am going to stop sharing the screen and I'm going to move us into, or Leif, are you doing that? Are you possibly putting us into?
I can't because I don't have the permissions right now.
Okay, I will then, right now, I'm going to slap us into some breakout rooms. And so listen up, when we get there, you can have a nice chat with the people you're going to be with. You have a free pass to stay or go when you need to be, but this is the connection fun time. And, thank you all so much for coming here today. We appreciate everything you bring to this weekly meeting. It's so much fun and you make it awesome.